Welcome back to another episode of Imagine Better. I'm your host, Mark Powers, and today I am privileged and honored. In studio with me today is the one and only Dr. Portia Lockett. How you doing, my dear? I was going to call you Sweetie, but hey, Sweetie dear. You been good?
People often say that I'm sweet. So
you are sweet.
I am very
so
sweet.
Far, she came into the studio today just all pleasant, and it's beautiful. The grace of God just brought her right in here to me. So
absolutely, it's such a pleasure to be here having this conversation with you today, Mark. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Yes. I've been a little nervous too. I'll be honest. You know, as everyone knows, I don't do a ton of backdrop on my guests, so I love let's just have fun, let's have a great conversation, and so I've been looking forward to this today. I don't have no idea what I'm going to ask you. We'll just let it come out.
That's right. Let's let it flow, let it flow, let it flow, right?
So how far of a drive did you have?
About 30 minutes.
Oh, that's not
30
bad.
minutes downtown Detroit, yeah. I-75, I got a couple of notices on my dashboard saying, there were a couple of cars that were stalled, and it's this new thing now where they asked you, is the car still there?
Oh, on Waze app.
Yeah, it's like, wow, I had never experienced that before, and I was a little afraid to do something. I'm like, okay, is this a trick where you're not supposed to even be looking at texting, while you're driving, but they're asking me, is the accident still there or the stalled car still there? So I'm like, okay,
right.
Still there.
You're like, yep, it's there. Now I'm over here. No.
Right, exactly.
Well, I am thankful, and I'm excited that you made the trip in. So awesome. I mean, what little bit of research I've done on you, you have an amazing background. Like, I wouldn't even know where to begin. So I want to get to know the Dr. Portia Lockett, that not where you are today. Let's go back quite a while. I mean, I did read on your website that I think it was age 7. It was clear to you that you wanted to teach and not engage. What's the word? Encourage, I believe it was. And so maybe let's start a snippet there and kind of fast forward to where your journey led you to where you are today.
Right.
I want to know everything.
Yes, I love teaching. I love encouraging people.
Okay.
That's kind of like been my lifestyle since day one. And I remember I was in my classroom. I had to be in the 2nd grade, maybe 7 years old.
Okay.
And I could hear this voice saying, teach. And so I had never had an encounter with voices before, and back in the day, if you heard voices, they would kind of label you, right?
Right.
And so I think that was my first encounter with the Holy Spirit, letting me know that that was a portion of my assignment. And so I really went up to my teacher and I asked her, did you say something to me? She says, no. And I went back and I heard it again. It's just like this inner desire, like I wanted to teach, I wanted to be like her.
Right.
And so I think that's what was going on in my spirit, man. And so I pursued, my first degree in early childhood education. Nice. And I taught with the Detroit Public School System for a number of years. And when I left Detroit Public School System, I went into radio. I was in the radio industry for about 10 years. Yes.
In the Detroit market?
In the Detroit area, yes. I started off at WNIC, WMTG, Motown Gold radio station.
What?
Then I transitioned over a little bit more conservative at WWJ, News Radio 950.
Oh, yeah, there's the voice,
right.
too.
Yes, exactly.
Is that like something they say? Because WWJ and WJR all have this unique kind of way that they announce things. Is that like they come in here and say, okay, Dr. Portia, this is how you need to say it?
No, because actually I wasn't really on air. I was in sales.
Okay.
I was in sales, and so I transitioned from WWJ over to WJLB, a little bit more fun and relaxing music, a lot of parties, a lot of promotional programs that I was involved in. And then I got a call back and said, we need you to come back to WWJ. So that was my segment there. Had a lot of fun, met a lot of wonderful individuals, in that sector, and started an organization called BART, which stood for Blacks in Advertising, Radio, and Television. And so I partnered with a number of individuals who were either in radio advertising, in television advertising, newspaper, or cable.
Okay.
And so what we discovered is there was not a lot of mentoring programs for those individuals who were coming out of college. They didn't know what to do. How do I get into this arena? And so we started this program to be able to encourage them and to mentor them. And we would have programs throughout the year where we would acknowledge and identify those individuals in our community that were just outstanding citizens who were constantly pouring back into our community. So the first person that we actually honored was Donnie Simpson, the love bug from back in the day on WJLB.
What? That's
we,
pretty cool.
We also honored Mel Farr, the superstar, the former football player with the Lions. And so we had programs like that all the time to be able to raise money, to be able to help these individuals as they were transitioning into their new life, right?
Yeah.
And so following that, and even when I was in radio, I was always training someone. So I still had that teaching piece going on. And later after that, I decided to get into training. Still teaching.
Right.
And so I went back to school and got some additional certifications and did a length of time having my own business, which is Anspire Training and Development Company and Anspire Ministries. And Anspire stood for Anointed Spirits.
I did read that on your site, and with that, that took you abroad, I believe, for a number of years to help communities across, like Barbados. I don't know, there was a handful of...
Yeah, Anspire Ministries, and then a little bit after that. And so, we did a lot of training for UAW Chrysler and GM, did a little bit with Ford, and so just enjoyed that part. And then continuing to hear, even in the midst of that, and I really heard the calling on my life at that time to become a chaplain. So I went back to school to become a licensed and ordained chaplain, interfaith chaplain, where I'm able to meet people right where they are. I have a little tagline that says, I'm a chaplain, and what that means is I can care for you from the womb to the tomb and everything in between. And I can marry you and bury you and everything in between. So as I help people who are going through emotional and mental and spiritual trauma or a grief, I'm there to be able to support those individuals. And then later on after that, the life continues. You keep hearing these different assignments, on your life. And so currently I am the Director of Spiritual Care and Community Affairs for the Adult Central Campus of the Detroit Medical Center. I am also the CEO and founder of the Benet Lockett Foundation, where we help you heal, offer you hope, and hold your heart as you're going through any type of grieving journey. So that
where do you sleep?
You said when or where?
When? Where's wherever you're standing up, I'm guessing. This is brilliant. Wow. Yeah, you're impressing me over here.
Loving the path that God has me on, and this is, I just tell myself, this is just the beginning. I'm just getting started with this part of my assignment. Yes.
See, and I love the energy and the drive. I mean, that's one thing that's very rewarding about hosting this show is that I get to meet some amazing human beings, very driven. They've all had something that happened to them that inspired them to reach beyond what they thought were their capabilities at the time, and they transformed into this amazing mega human. And I put you right there. I mean, this is amazing.
Yes,
you are something. The whole trauma and grief component to your entire being is something that's near and dear to your heart, because I believe over the years you've experienced that. I want to say you went through a divorce, if I remember, a loss of your father and son, I understand. I'm so sorry. Was it your father? No.
Yeah, I lost my father right after I graduated from college.
Okay.
And then in December of 2020.
Sorry to bring all that up, but
no.
Okay.
It's okay. That's part of my healing journey. The more I talk about it and the more I'm able to share, I'm able to touch the life of someone else, and hopefully they will find some healing, or will be driven to find the healing after having a conversation with me or listening to me. Right. So my son, Benet Lockett, was murdered in December of 2020, and that's when the foundation was actually birthed. God said, I'm going to get the glory out of this, and so it started. The Benet Lockett Foundation, and the A, the B, and the L is able. And that's what we refer to the Able Foundation, because God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above anything we could ever hope for or ask for. Yeah. So the whole premise of the foundation is to be able to help individuals heal, offer them hope, or hold their hearts as they're going through any type of grieving journey. Wow. And as you know, there's many ways that individuals can grieve, from losing a loved one, to going through a divorce, to losing a home, filing bankruptcy, having your car repossessed, losing a pet, going through a toxic relationship, losing your business. We talk about grief. Imagine 3.5 years ago, we were all experiencing some type of grief at the onset of COVID-19.
Yes. Yeah.
So our assignment is to provide programs and resources to be able to help individuals as they're going through any type of grieving journey, such as resources such as therapy and counseling. They will reach out to us and we'll give them a referral. If they don't have insurance, then we'll help to underwrite the cost of that service.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right? We've partnered with some amazing individuals to be able to help us on that journey. And then there are those individuals who are diagnosed with a chronic illness. And of course, when you're diagnosed with a chronic illness, sometimes you can't work, you can't pay those bills.
Right.
So we'll help to underwrite the cost of some of the bills that they are incurring. And then you have those individuals, who don't necessarily have a life insurance policy, and they transition. And so in order to be able to help the families, pay some of those bills that come with the loss of a loved one, we help to underwrite the cost of that service as well. So we work with a number of funeral services in the Detroit metropolitan area.
I mean, come on, that's amazing. Now that I didn't know at all, obviously, but it's that touches my heart right there that you guys do that, and that's the type of resources a lot of these people need, because just the little bit of trauma that I've gone through in my life and change, having a resource like that would have been amazing. Years ago for me. Now I have, I go to therapy every week, and
good for you.
Every Tuesday,
That's
I will never
awesome.
stop going.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you, and it really humbles me. It helps me. I get strategies. I get obviously I'm held accountable. I get challenged. So I've learned in the last probably almost 2 years how to be more vulnerable as a man in this crazy world, and transparent. Which I'm sitting here thinking, when you share your story on your website, for example, and again, I just read it this morning, guys, so it's, I was going through it, and I was thinking, you really have to you have to reach a certain place and you're a faith-driven woman, so being able to just sit there and go, I'm going to be so open and transparent and share this about the car repo, about the loss of family. That's a lot to just be open and say, this is me, guys.
Right. And that's intentional.
Yeah.
Because if it's really hard to encourage or have a dialogue with individuals if you haven't experienced anything yourself.
Yeah.
It's really challenging. I'm not saying it can't be done, because there's a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of studying that goes into the work that most therapists do.
Right.
But in order to really connect with people that you're working with on a regular basis, you have to go through some trials and tribulations yourself, I think. That's just my personal opinion.
I believe
about that. And so, I have a therapist. I have several that I can call on at any given time. And it depends on what it is. A couple of them I have on speed dial. Some of them are my personal friends that I can just call and just say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing today. And we refer different people, depending on the situation, back and forth to each other. And then we have a group of individuals that, who specialize in different areas.
Okay.
That we send individuals to. So, I'm very proud of you, Mark, that you're doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think every therapist needs a therapist.
Yeah.
Just like every hairstylist probably needs a hairstylist. Or if you're trying to cut your hair, some people can knock this thing out, doing your own hair and everything. I'm just saying, this is as an example.
I would shave myself on accident. No, that's true. Think about even your best, athletes have coaches. Even your most successful leaders have coaches to help them become better leaders. And I think, I did life coaching with a former guest on the show here for quite a while, and then I switched to another one because I meet a lot of coaches on here. So I was like, well, why don't I just pick one? Just go visit a couple here and there and spend some time, and I let them know. I'm like, hey, I'm going to spend time, like 4 sessions with you, 4 sessions here, and it helps me get a different perspective of the way that they coach, the things that are going on in my life, where I need to reach taller, higher, to grab the things that I want. I'm learning to, I love the faith-driven stuff. I've had the last several guests on my show, very faith-driven. And one, I don't know if you know him, Michael Spain. He lost his wife 18 years ago. Keep me honest, Michael, if you're watching, to cancer. So he went through a lot of loss and trauma, But he came out of it, but he's an incredibly faith-driven guy. And then I had Susie Dahlman. She came on a few weeks ago, and she was the first guest I've ever had that looked at me, and we were already filming. She goes, "Can we do a prayer?" Mm-hmm. So I never did that on the show. I was like, "Yeah, let's do a prayer."
Wonderful. Yeah.
That was amazing. It was a great experience. So I love that about you. And you're so calm and peaceful, and I don't know. I like that.
Thank
you. You're a force to.
I got a different kind of vibe,
You do, but you know what's very comforting.
Thank you.
Like I thought I was like before you got here. Like I said, I was kind of nervous to meet you. I mean, then as soon as you walked in, she asked if she could have a hug. It was it. I was like, oh, she's just a human. And your presence is amazing, so thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
So one thing I like about everything that you do, and you're welcome, everything I love about what you do is I think that it also helps people with their mindset. So if they go through some kind of a loss or a trauma or whatever struggle they're experiencing, and they reach out and they get that help from you and your team, I'm guessing, right? There's your organizations. That it's a reset in their minds a little bit to give them that growth spurt. Yeah. I would imagine.
Hope, absolutely. That's hope. Because we get calls, from and emails from different individuals who are experiencing different things. I was talking with someone just last week, and they had layers of grief, some things that they had never addressed, when they were a child. This particular person had been molested by two individuals, in his life as he was growing up. And as he got older, it was just very challenging to have a relationship, with a female. That was his desire, but it was just really challenging. And then the person that his go-to person was his mom, and she transitioned. And then the next person in his life that transitioned, who got close with, was his grandmother. So he had all these different things that were going on. He lost his business, had to go back to work, got fired from his job. So it was like all these different episodes of grief taking place in his life. Then he lost his pet. He had a dog. And so I'm just sitting there just like, wow. You've experienced quite a bit in your life. Yeah. So are you really ready to do the work? And so I had to be intentional about the person that I was going to connect him with.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the examples you just gave and you labeled grief, I don't think a lot of people would realize that is grief.
Absolutely.
I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know if I've ever considered losing a job, and that's grief. I automatically go straight to a loss of a loved one of but a loss of something is you grieve.
Absolutely. You think about
that's interesting.
If you're the main provider, of your family,
right,
and that income is not coming in every 2 weeks. Like the norm,
right?
Then you grieve because how am I going to provide for myself, let alone provide for my family?
Right.
I have a business, right? And then the business caves, or for whatever reason, it is not in place anymore. It's not intact. Like a lot of people lost their businesses during COVID.
Yeah,
a lot of businesses
sad.
had to shut down. So how am I going to provide for my family? I have all these individuals that I'm responsible for, so I'm grieving because I don't know what's going to take place. Yeah. We're living in unprecedented times, and so how are we going to move forward? How am I, as we as a family, and everybody's looking at me, to take care? Because dad or mom is always that person that steps in to take care of everybody else. So that's a part of grief.
So when you're meeting with these people, I mean, you seem to be a very we're all emotional beings. And you're meeting these individuals and you're hearing their stories, some good, some bad, some just maybe just go, wow, how are you standing here today in front of me? How does that impact you sometimes?
Well, I'm a very empathetic person and very compassionate person. And so in order for me to take on some of that, I have to kind of put myself in the shoes and say, you know what, this person or persons are experiencing this particular situation. How can I best help them? And I'm not a therapist. I am a grief recovery method specialist, along with being a spiritual advisor and a chaplain. So I have to be very careful in terms of how I interact and the type of advice I'm giving these individuals. So most of the time I do a lot of referrals. But if they come directly to me and just says, hey, Dr. Portia, I want to work directly with you, I have to explain to them, as a grief recovery method specialist, there is a process that we go through. There is a book that I use in order to guide me as I'm working with them, and it's called the Grief Recovery Method Specialist book. And there was some training that I had to, go through myself in order to become a grief recovery method specialist. And so with that being said, I am very, as I said, very intentional, about listening and letting people know, well, what do we want to work on first? What do we want to tackle first? Because we can't tackle everything in the first day, the second day, or the third day. This is going to take a period of time in order for us to be able to walk through this journey together. But just work with me and we'll get you there. And when I get to the point where I feel as if I can no longer help you, then we're going to get you to the next person, because sometimes it takes a team, depending on how deep the grief journey is for that individual.
But how rewarding that would be to, from the day you meet this individual, you kind of put yourself in their shoes, so to speak, like you said, get to their emotional level almost, and then see that journey 30 days, 60 days out until they transition to perhaps another resource. And then one day you must have, do you have like success stories from the clients that have come to you and said, Dr. Portia, thank you, and from here to here? I mean, that would be an emotional experience.
Absolutely.
I would love that.
Especially, working in the hospital, I see people all the time that'll just walk up to me. I'll be in the grocery store and say, I remember when you were there, when, unfortunately I lost my mom, and you were there to hold me up, and you were there to guide me and kind of give me some resources to be able to help me, to be able to heal as I was grieving the loss. And so that just warms my heart when someone will call me, or I'll run into that individual and they make that statement. So it's very rewarding. Very rewarding.
I think the act of kindness plays into this a lot too. Just being empathetic, and kind and just loving towards others, and that's so hard in today's world for a lot of people. Today, I just called a buddy of mine. He was on my mind, and I was driving into the office here, and I just called him up and said, hey, Don, just want to say you're on my mind. I said, I just want to say, love you, man. Keep up the good work that you're doing.
We are so much alike.
And he was shocked by that. And because I've never done that for him, but it was at my heart today, and there's nothing going on with him. He's crushing it. He owns a gym, and he's doing very well. And I just I wanted to let him know that thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. And that touched him, and he was like, thank you very much. I appreciated that. And then I'm like, great, go about your day. Keep kicking butt out there.
There used to be a time when I would make myself a little note, call this person later. But now I'm at the point where, tomorrow is not promised. If someone drops in my spirit, if I can, I'll stop and I'll give them a call. If not, I'll give them a little text. Hey, just thinking about you, love you. I just want you to know that you're appreciated. This world is a better place because of you. If there's anything that I can do to be a blessing to you, let me know. And a lot of times when I say that piece right there, let me know how I can be a blessing to you. A lot of people are shocked because when a lot of people are approached, I'm not going to say most people, when a lot of people are approached, they're asking someone else for something as opposed to saying, what can I do for you? How can I be a blessing to you? Is there a prayer that I can pray for you? Can I refer you to someone? Can I connect you with someone that may be able to help you go to the next level in whatever it is that you're doing? So, when you just kind of just sit back and you're just in tune to the source, you don't have to be concerned about the resources that God is going to give you in order to move forward yourself, let alone resources to give to someone else.
Yeah, I like that. How can I be a blessing to you? I've never used that.
Yeah, you can borrow it.
I'm going to borrow it.
Yes.
I am. I like that. That if somebody were to call me and say that, I would be a little shocked at first because nobody does that, at least not in my world. Excuse me. So I love that though. That is powerful. Yeah. You are also I could tell you're a very strong woman, and I think that's because the journey you've been on, but the ability to be very professional, very strong-minded, very kind and warm-hearted and go to all these different levels to do what you have to do is impressive. I mean, how do you do that?
You know, I just stay, as I stated before, I stay connected to the source.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I have my God time, my meditation, my prayer every morning before I even get out of the bed.
Yeah.
When I just say, thank you, God, you know, just for allowing me to have another day, because there's somewhere out there, somewhere, where someone did not make it past 11:59 last night. You know, I was having a conversation with someone earlier today, and I said, you know, we have so much to be thankful for. There's always,
Right.
always something to be thankful for. You know, we can go to our refrigerators and open up and decide, you know, am I going to have, you know, turkey sausage? Am I going to have eggs? Am I going to have toast? Am I going to have orange juice? Am I going to have grapefruit juice?
Right.
Just choices that we have, right? Where there's someone that's trying to see if I'm going to have something to eat, as opposed to the choice or the
Right.
what.
Yeah.
So I'm asking God every day, how can I be a blessing? Allow me to be a blessing to everyone that crosses my path. Maybe it's just a hug. Maybe it's a hello. Maybe I'm just acknowledging someone that crosses my path. Do you think, how do you think it feels when a person is never acknowledged?
Yeah.
When it's almost like they're this blank piece of paper and nobody is seeing the beautiful art, the beautiful craft that God has created.
Right.
And so I'm very intentional about acknowledging people as they're passing me in the hallway, or if I'm passing me in the mall, or, you know, at the gas station. Hi, how are you? Just the kindness.
I do
of
that,
just saying,
yes.
hello,
There
how
are a lot
are you?
like
What's
that.
going on? You know, nice hair, nice shoes. Oh, your kids are wonderful. You know, just some type of compliment, you know?
Right.
And so I think it's really important for us to, you know, be intentional about our day, you know, and being able to pour into other individuals. I love pouring into others.
Yes, every time, especially people in the service industry where they're attacked mentally all day long, verbally. I know somebody who works in my community. She works at this party store. One of the nicest, kindest humans I've ever met. Her outlook of life. You could sit here and say the most degrading, disrespectful things to her in her face, and she'll just look at you and go, you have a blessed day. You have a great day. I hope your day turns out better. And she won't take it offensively. Recently, she shared a story, and it's sad because somebody did this and said some really unchoice names and degraded her and completely disrespected her at her place of work. And she's in her early 50s, single lady, wonderful, wonderful human, will do anything for anybody. And these people came in, all she's doing is trying to help them buy whatever product they're buying. They said all these mean things to her. So she said, I didn't show up to work today to have somebody speak to me like that and treat me this way, but I hope your day turns out better. And then they told her, this is obviously her telling me the story, and she said, they said to her, we're going to take our business elsewhere. And she says, please do.
Good for her. Good for her.
But here's the sad part. So her employer asked what happened. He was watching the cameras, and he didn't like the way that she handled it and terminated her right on the spot. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So she lost her job over that. So it's like grief, right? So now she is going through this moment of trying to figure out kind of where she's at in life. What's her next step in life? Now she's grieving
at this age.
And at her age, what does she do? I mean, as it is, she was in the service industry. So it's like my point about all that was, I make a point like you do when I approach somebody and I'm buying whatever I'm buying at a store, or I'm in a drive-through. I'm always asking them, how's the day treating you? Everyone treating you nice? And most of the time, they will say yes, but they will say, you're the first person to ask me that today. I'm like, really? Just ask somebody how their day's going. Are you having a nice day? If not, I hope it turns out better. It's just be kind, everybody. Be kind.
Right. But on the flip side of that, sometimes people just say it just to say it as a conversation piece, like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
And the person says, well, actually, I'm not having a great day. Maybe you can help me out here.
Right.
But we're so busy.
Yeah.
Do we really want to hear that answer? Do we really take the time out to just say, hey, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
And maybe I can help you. Maybe I can't. Maybe I can just pray for you. Maybe I can guide you to someone else or another resource that is, that can bless you.
Yeah. And I like when I go out and about, and again, I'll use the service industry because it's an easier one to reference, but when they have their name tags on, or if you go through a drive-through, hi, this is Heidi. I go, hey Heidi, you sound cheerful today.
Yes.
Sounds like you're having a good day. Or I'll come up and they'll have a name on there. I'm like, I'll use their name. Like they almost look at it like, how did you know my name?
Right.
It's right there.
Right.
But I address them that way, and like same thing with servers at a restaurant. Oh my God, people. These people are getting attacked all day long. It's my goal to try to make them feel uplifted, because you go out to eat sometimes and you just know the individual serving you and helping you, they just by their tone and their mannerisms, they've been beaten up.
Absolutely. And even when you make the phone call, I recently called one of the airlines, and a guy answered the phone. I don't really remember his name, but let's just say his name was Dwayne.
Okay.
And when he answered, he says, the name of the company, the name of the airline, and this is Dwayne speaking. I said, Dwayne? He goes, yeah. I said, Dwayne? He goes, yeah. I says, oh, I'm so glad I got you again. I remember the last time you helped me, and everything just turned out great. Let me tell you what I'm experiencing right now. This is what I need you to do, and will you check on this for me? And next thing you know, Dwayne and I are having a conversation like we were first cousins.
Right.
And he says, anytime you ever need some help, just call back, call this number, and just, ask for me if you can.
Yeah.
But sometimes people just want to feel like they've been validated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see you, I hear you.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that feeds right into how you help them, right? With the whole grief and loss and everything that they're going through and experiencing. So, what are some of the goals that some of your clients come to you with? They're experiencing some things. They're probably feeling a little like, I don't know how to handle this. I don't want to. Sorry, I use my hands all the time. How do you read them and then know where to begin? Obviously you got this book that you follow. That's a process.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. But before we even get into the book, people will call and they can have a number of things. The number one thing that people are experiencing grief with is the loss of a loved one.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? My mother was my girl. My father was my go-to person. My significant other. We had this business together. How am I going to continue raising these children together? What am I going to do without this person?
Okay. Yeah.
Period.
Right.
Where do I go from here? I had one young lady, and her mother lived, I do believe, to be 95 years old, and now her mom has been deceased now for like 9 years, and she's still having a problem.
Wow.
Because she centered her
sad.
whole life around being the caregiver of her mother. So she shut down all of her girlfriends, all of her activities, all the fun engagements that she used to be, invited to. And so now she's got to reestablish who she is.
Yeah.
She's got to redefine who she is. So it's not necessarily about the grieving of the loss of her mom, but she's grieving the loss of herself.
Yeah, and I can relate to that. We go through a lot of different things in our journeys, right? And we're all on the same exact journey. It's the collections of experiences that make us unique, different, beautiful, and special in our own way, I believe.
Right.
And the good, the bad of that journey, is the cyclical part of life. But I think it's God will put people like yourself, Dr. Portia Lockett, in the path of somebody. Heck, you might have been on this show for a reason for me. I don't know. Maybe. I'm loving the energy from this and what I'm learning and how you help other people. That touches my heart in a big way, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are afraid to ask for help. And I'll just, again, pick on myself. When I was fighting depression, I didn't want to admit that I had it. Nobody would ever know. Nobody ever knew. On the outside, I was like, hey, all bubbly and all energetic and same Mark Powers everyone ever knew. But inside, I was dark and just lost, right? So then finally, 2 years ago, I had to say, okay, this is beyond me. And I had to reach out and say, okay, I'm going to go and figure out what is going on. And I'm so glad I did that. I'm a whole different person now. I'm still going through some struggles, like a lot of people out there. They do. We go through the ups and downs of life, right? But having people in our lives like yourself that can listen, understand, guide, and put us back on a path that is, maybe it's purposeful, maybe it's just simply going from stages of I'm happy to now I'm joyful, right?
Absolutely.
Very different. Happiness and joy are very different, right? Just like change and transformational change, very different.
Absolutely.
Transformational change comes deep inside, and
Yes.
it's like this. It's like the caterpillar that turns into the butterfly.
Yes.
Change is like, I'm gonna go get a gym membership, and then 2 weeks later I don't go. But I made a change for a moment, right?
I love that analogy. Yes. Absolutely.
So,
And I think the other key point is being very intentional about who you put into your circle.
yes.
You know, who do you have surrounding you? Who do you have in that circle that's going to call you out when you're wrong?
Yeah.
Who's going to be that person who is going to encourage you to tell you that, yes, you can do this? You know, what's holding you back? What do you need in order to move forward? You need someone to help you balance your bank account. Maybe you're not that great of a saver
Right.
or investor, I should say. And so you need that person that's going to hold you accountable for how you are handling your finances.
Yeah.
You know, then that therapist, that mental health expert that's going to help you be able to balance your emotions. So who is in your circle? Who is that person that you can just pick up the phone and just says, I need someone to touch and agree with me on this issue, and I need prayer. Can you cover me? Or this is what I'm going through. I'm getting ready to go here. Can you cover me with my travels? So I have a group of individuals that I can call on for different things throughout the day, throughout the month, and says, hey, this is the project that I'm working on, or I have a trip that I'm going to make, or I'm kind of unsure about some decisions. Can you intercede for me, or can we have a conversation and maybe we can just walk through this so I can get a different point of view?
Yeah, that's powerful. And so I love what you said. You caught yourself savings, and then you caught yourself and said investing. I love that, because I think a lot of people, and those things are two very different things, right? When you save or invest, you're investing in yourself and in for your future, much like a savings. You're saving for a better future, right? Or something you're planning on, but the investing piece is important. The circle, oh my goodness, that is, everybody wants a seat at the table in your circle, right? But it's up to each of every one of us to invite the right people at the table.
And sometimes those individuals change.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you have to say, you know what, your services are no longer needed.
Right.
Thank you so much. It's been a great relationship.
Right.
I'm going to ask you to transition
Yeah.
out of
And
my
that's
life.
okay.
And then that opens up a door for someone else that can come in and take you to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds so transactional, but in a way it kind of is. But it's for our benefit. It's for their benefit.
Absolutely.
We're exchanging, we're growing in and out of our lives, all of us, like this, all the time, every day. Yeah, you have your circle that has been there forever, like your friends from school maybe, or whomever. It could be a close family member that has always been there like a friend, but they're family, right? But yeah, I agree with that. I don't think so many people look at it that way.
Yeah, you maybe have different circles. You have your circles of your friends,
right?
And then you have your circles, that they're there for your professional growth.
Correct.
Or your spiritual growth, or your emotional growth, whatever it is that you decide, I need a circle for this.
Yes.
And then you make a decision, who do I need in this circle? Who can I bring to my table?
So you, Dr. Portia Lockett, I think I know my answer, because you are very faith-driven. You pray every morning in bed before you get up and thank God for the blessings He has given you in life and the people that He has brought into your life. So you must have days, though, you just go, oh my gosh, this is draining. Yeah. Do those ever happen? Or are you just above all that?
No.
I'm curious.
I'm going to be honest. Absolutely. With doing this work, we had a...
You mean you're human?
Yeah, I am. We had this amazing year where we did a lot of work,
Right.
with the foundation. We had a series called the Permission Series. And so we had permission to grieve, permission to heal, permission to live and laugh, permission to love again, permission to move forward, and then permission to celebrate.
Oh,
and then
amazing.
all the work that goes with that. And then we had our prayer breakfast, which was celebrating the 2nd anniversary. So doing all of this work throughout the year, helping individuals and putting on these programs and providing resources, it took a lot of energy.
Right.
A lot of energy. And so when that concluded, in September, I said, okay, we're just going to take a break. We're going to take a little bit of a breather here. And then life happens outside of the foundation, outside of work. One of my dear friends, as we sit here right now, she lives in Italy, and she's kind of like at the end of life. Unfortunately.
Sorry.
And so her mother and I just went over there for a little over a week. It was unexpected. We hadn't planned this vacation, but we had to go over there. The time change and just the adjustment to everything was a little bit different. And so I wasn't quite rested from what we had just, experienced throughout the year with the foundation, and then this happened, and then you hear about other people that are experiencing different things in your life that impact your life. And so sometimes you don't have a choice but to take on some of this yourself. And so you just have to find some place where you can go and you can just be still and you can just exhale. So what some of the things that I do for myself is I go get massages. I learn how to be still and listen. There's a place in the downtown area called Bloom Transformation Center. I mentioned to you earlier about Dr. Rose Moten, but she has sound healing. And then we have yoga. And so there's all these different mechanisms that you can use in order to move through this space that you're in when you're feeling kind of like, whoa, I need a break. I need something.
Yeah.
So, everybody is different.
Yeah.
And what works for you may not work for me.
Yes.
I love to dance. I was telling somebody the other day, there's a couple little spots, here and there, where I just can go and it just like I have this, house music playing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And I love it. I pay my $10 at the door. I'll go in and I'll find that nice little quiet space right in this center. Nobody knows me, and most of the folks that are there are quite younger than I am. And I'll do my little movement for a minute. I get my exercise on. I call it my cardio going, my little dance, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I just slide on out, and, go about my business. I don't have to have a partner. I don't have to take anybody with me, but it feels so good just to be able to move my body. My mother used to always say, if you don't move it, you lose it. So I have to make sure that I'm active.
Yes.
Taking care of the tempo. Yes.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it active and moving.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love it. I always joke around and say I move at the speed of now. It's just like, I got to slow down.
Yes.
I meditate, but not as much as I was, but I do. And it was funny. I've said it on the show a few times. Meditation is different for everyone, and you kind of mentioned that too. But it's like one guest on the show was talking about his method of meditation is when he's on the treadmill, where it's movement. That's how he focuses. And it's like, okay, so I tried that. I was like, that kind of worked for me a little bit. So I tried different things. I'm not really into the yoga. I haven't found that to be something that just like I like, but I like kickboxing. I go to this, I strength train 3 days a week at the gym and kickbox 2 days a week at the gym. And that for me, that is my Zen moment, a little bit of just get all the stress out and anxiety. Then I have a moment I just kind of relax. Listen to, you hear that? No, that's great. I love those moments.
Nice.
But no, this is fantastic. So, if everyone will be able to find your information on the description in this video, you guys, on Dr. Portia Lockett. And if any of you are struggling with grief, or you have any challenges in life that she and her staff and her organization can help you out with, please reach out, comment below. We'd love to get involved and provide the resources and guidance that you might need. And if you know of somebody, if it's not yourself, share this video and help us reach others that really are struggling out there. And I think that's the message. That's the power of this show. Is what I'm trying to do. Is let's be a resource to help people. To be a beacon that may not be obvious and lit up in someone's path.
Absolutely. And you know what? And you may not know anyone that is in that space, but you say, you know what, I want to donate to be able to help someone else, because that's the only way we're able to do the work that we do. Everybody on our team is we're volunteering, for the foundation.
I was going to ask you if you can people volunteer if they're local here in Metro Detroit and they want to come out and help and be part of your organization?
Absolutely. They could just contact us by, on our website, the AzelBeneLockettFoundation.org website, or they can reach out to me directly at drportialockett.com.
Okay.
And either way, we'll connect them with the right group that they can participate in or they can volunteer with.
Nice, nice. Well, this has been an amazing conversation.
Yes.
I am very honored, and I feel very happy right now.
Well, thank you so much. It's truly been a pleasure. Yes.
Come here, young lady.
Yes.
Come here. Another successful episode of Imagine Better, everybody. Stay tuned for other great episodes. Remember, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification button so you get notified of other great episodes like this. Please help us share this message with as many people as you can. Get our show out there. There's a lot of great message and resources and guidance and guests that's been on this show that can truly provide everything that you guys need. Let's work together to make our community stronger and kinder. So, Dr. Portia,
it's been a blessing.
It's been an absolute honor and pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Love you guys. Have a great day, and always imagine better.